Mama and Angeluna podcast with your favorite spiritual badass boss bitch, Jess. I'm an energy healer and a spiritual mentor, along with all the other facets that make up me. Like a diamond, I'm everything, and so are you. You're here to get your daily energetic blast of empowerment and spiritual knowledge. Let's get started. All right, guys. So I was kind of unsure about what I was going to do today for this episode, which isn't shocking because I feel like this happens a lot where I'm not exactly sure what I want to record the episode about until like the day of, because that's just how spirit works, right? And I was sitting down to do my energy read, do the card pull, and I have a specific like shamanic candle that I always burn, and recently I started burning another candle as well when I sit down to do work, along with sage. Always fucking sage. I love sage. And it's called the Sirens. It's a candle from one of my favorite witchy shops, from House Witch in Salem, Massachusetts. And it was gifted to me this Christmas. And I've been burning it anytime I do any spiritual work, whether it's on myself or on clients. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, well, duh. Like, it just felt right in my body to talk about the Siren energy today, because it is something that's been coming through for me for a really, really long time. And I feel it really starting to seep into the present. It's not something that, you know, it hasn't felt like it's felt in the past. In the past, it was something that was downloading. I was creating something around it, and it's kind of just dropped into every part of my life, including all of my clients. So I just think it's time to really get it out there. That being said, I also did write a blog post about it last week. It is on my website, angelunaenergy.com, under the blog tab, and it is called Being a Siren. It kind of just poured out of me, and it didn't occur to me to do an episode on it, but it makes sense because the blog is something that exists so that you can kind of use it as a reference point. It's on the website. It's there whenever you need it. And it's something that just stays visually there. Whereas I feel like with the podcast, you know, you need to have the time to listen to it. Although I learned today that you can speed up the person talking on the podcast in Apple Podcasts. So that was just like a little side note, fun thing. But I decided it was time to do an episode on the Siren energy and embodying the Siren. So first, the energy read. I did a card pull for myself that I thought was going to be for the podcast, and there were like 7 billion cards, and I rapidly found out that it was really just a energy read for myself, and that I needed to do this episode on the Siren energy. So for the podcast, the first card that was pulled was Infinite Abundance and Ganesh. Obviously, obstacles are being removed, spiritual support and connections are being increased. Then Archangel Michael, one of my personal fucking favorites, definitely an angelic brother. You are safe. Angels stand close, surrender your concerns, and allow miracles to occur. Total manifestation energy. And the last one is Light Activation. Shine your light. Your intentional guidance is coming through loud and clear. So for me, all of that together, that was like the shortest energy read, and I feel like it was for a reason, because this week, the Siren energy, it's kind of very, very straightforward. You know, when the Siren calls, you fucking hear it. So when the Siren's calling from inside of your body, and you're echoing that noise out into the world, echo's the wrong word, when it's not stuck, echoing in your body, but it's being projected out into the world or the universe, spirit, whatever, cannot help but hear it. It's really, really, I mean, what do sirens do? Let's think about this for a second. I mean, there's lots of different types of sirens, but really, the siren that most of us know, it's a mermaid that calls out that you can't help but be drawn to. And she kind of just takes whatever the fuck she wants, and she doesn't give a shit. She's like, okay, this is my birthright. I'm a siren, and I'm going to take you down into the watery depths. So that's like a kind of darker version. But really, a siren calls in what she wants, and there are no fucks given about it. And that's kind of the energy behind Siren energy. It's an energy that can kind of be embodied in many, many ways. So we can look at Siren energy in terms of calling in a lover. We can look at Siren energy in terms of calling in your actual partner in life. You can be calling in money siren. You could be calling in abundance in general, whatever. So the thing about the Siren energy, right? It's really awesome. Obviously, it's very, very powerful. It's a little different than a typical manifestation mindset because the siren is very, very sure of herself. Whereas, there's all different types of manifestation that we could really chat about, that we have chatted about before. The siren energy, that siren coding that needs to kind of envelop our entire being and all of our DNA and shift the way that we see what we're calling in or what we really already have is, it's understanding that it doesn't have to be perfect energy all the time. You can know exactly what you want. You can embody this siren energy and still understand that, there's shadow to work through. The difference is our vibration's not going to fucking slip because we know that at the other end of that shadow, with everything in our being, everything in our subconscious, on the other end of that shadow is freedom, is a higher vibration. So you see, we don't have to feel like, oh, okay, well, I have to be perfect in this siren energy. How the fuck do I do that? No. It's understanding that you can work through shadow. And on the other side is exactly what you want. It's that high vibration. So if you're focusing on what's actually on the other side, if you're sitting there doing your shadow work and you're like, oh God, like this feels low, and ultimately in the back of your mind, you reprogram yourself enough to think to yourself, I know this is sucky right now, but tomorrow I feel my vibration rising. That's it right there. Spirit sees it. Spirit sees you knowing that this is not the normal. Spirit knows that you see that higher vibration tomorrow or now or later, whatever. Time doesn't really exist. So, if you really think about it that way, then it's great. That's a little bit too much for this episode. We're going to talk about that another time. But one of the major things I wanted to talk about was how do you work through that shadow and then keep that vibe up, knowing that tomorrow, how do we keep our mindset and reprogram our brain to know that at the other end of this shadow is that higher vibration, is the solution or whatever, is the recoding of this mindset. So I used to fondly call this the shitty 5 minutes, right? So, you have this shadow come up and you're like, oh, got to deal with this so we can move on and manifest our shit. And, I used to call it the shitty 5 minutes because it'd be like, okay, give yourself a couple minutes to move on and get over this, right? Then I started thinking about it and I'm like, 5 minutes probably isn't enough. Sometimes we need more. Sometimes we need 15 minutes. Sometimes we need a day, whatever. So I started calling it the shitty 15 minutes. And then I thought, okay, well, the universe is just fucking hearing shitty. That's not great. So what we're going to call it, and what I've been fondly calling it for a while, is the healing 15 minutes. We're going to take that 15 minutes and we're going to allow ourselves to work through shadow. We're going to allow ourselves to feel like shit. Maybe it's not a shadow moment. Maybe you just woke up feeling crappy and you're like, you know what? Shifting energy feels like negating right now. I just need to feel this for some reason. So you're going to allow yourself that healing 15 minutes. And then you're going to pick your butt up and you're going to move the fuck on. And you're going to figure it out. And if you need a little bit more time and you keep returning to the same thing, then it's really maybe time to turn back around and say, you know what? I need to do some shadow work. I got to talk something out with a buddy. Let me figure this out, because then it's more than a healing 15 minutes. Then it's like, okay, there's some work to be done. But when we start rewiring our brain to think healing 15 minutes, the universe is hearing us healing. The universe is hearing us, seeing us moving through. Therefore, it ain't shitty. It's not a shitty 15 minutes, and that vibration doesn't exist. It's healing, the vibration of healing, and then the vibration of gratitude for being able to heal and for being able to see the difference. The vibration of gratitude instantly raises your vibration. It's absolutely incredible. And people who aren't even super spiritual or into manifestation, anyone I talk to about gratitude, it makes you fucking feel better. So naturally, it's going to make your energy rise. So let's chat about what the siren energy feels like in your body. So we've dealt with what do we do when shadow comes up or when something that's not so great comes up, right? How do we move through that? But we need to talk about what siren energy in our body feels like, because it feels different than your typical manifestation energy. So for me, siren energy feels sexy as fuck. It feels like this beautiful red hot burning fire from my root chakra all the way up through my body. That's kind of like a controlled burn. This fire knows what it's doing. It's not burning you up. It's not doing anything that's going to hurt you. In fact, it's acting like a beacon, and it's calling in everything. You can feel it in your fucking body. You'll also notice that when you're embodying this siren energy, people notice you differently. People will look at you differently. You walk by people and you can kind of tell their energy. You kind of feel like you can command any room you walk into. That's siren energy. When you look up at your day and you're walking through it and you see yourself as this like fucking goddess, and you know in your fucking bones you deserve every fucking thing that you're calling in. That's it. That's siren energy. It is embodying that energy. So whatever you need to do to embody that energy, that's what you do. Maybe it's dressing like your higher self. Maybe it's doing a sexy little manifestation ritual in the morning. Maybe it's orgasmic manifestation. Maybe it's a Kundalini rising meditation first thing in the morning. Whatever you need to embody this energy that I'm talking about, and I know you can feel it because I feel the vibration of my voice change as I'm talking about it. So if you even want to tap into the vibration that's coming through this podcast, if you're energetically inclined in that way, I guarantee you feel it. So next I'm being guided to talk about clearing the sacral chakra, because really the siren energy is going to come from the womb space. For me, when I first started downloading information about this siren energy, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about it, but when I first started downloading this information, and as it began coming together, and I began working with goddesses on the other side, and all these different things, or they began coming to me rather, with more information about this, I started seeing not just the sacral chakra. Like we all know I'm a Reiki master. I fucking look at chakras all day long. But there was more to it. I've also been practicing Kundalini shit for a long time, womb space healing for a while, yoni stuff for a while. So as I was working with this siren energy, realizing that I had had it in me my entire life and just was trying to bring it forth so that I could give it to you guys, share it with you guys, teach it, heal people with it, I started seeing the yoni, the sacral, and the kundalini as three separate balls of energy in the body in a row, front to back. And in order to seriously embody this siren energy, they all needed to begin to connect. So most people practice one or the other. A lot of people like Kundalini stuff. Some Kundalini rising meditations are really awesome, and whatever. In Reiki, we clear the sacral chakra. Some people do yoni work. We do mudras for the yoni, all of that stuff. I'm hearing and seeing it truly begins with the clearing of the sacral chakra before we can really begin to stitch together the other pieces. So let's talk about how to clear the sacral first. The sacral chakra, we have 7 from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. We have the root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Okay? The sacral chakra is orange in color. Forgive me for my pronunciation of this, but in Sanskrit, it is pronounced Swadhisthana. The sound for this chakra is Vam, and it's located right near your womb space. So, and it's orange in color, if I didn't already say that. So when we want to clear that, right? So you're sitting there going like, okay, like I don't have time for a Reiki session every time I need to clear my sacral. There are many ways to do this. One, you can literally look up a meditation for the sacral. You can look up vibrational sounds on YouTube or something to clear the sacral. But if you're like me and you prefer to do it yourself, you can ground and picture the sacral chakra like a ball of energy spinning and spinning and spinning. And if you see any darkness there or color that doesn't belong, imagine a bright ball of orange light spinning outward until the entire orb, the entire chakra, is just bright orange, clearing that chakra. Or, this is probably one of my favorite ways for people and for myself, even with clients, to clear the chakra is to chant. So you can chant the sound Vam. You could chant Om, the sound of the universe, Ah, throat opening, Vam, over and over and over until your gut is just telling you like, yo, that shit's clear. So those are just a couple ways to clear the sacral. Once you clear the sacral, I mean, again, you can, whatever I just said, you can literally clear all the chakras that way. You can look up the sounds for all the chakras and fucking chant your motherfucking heart out. It feels so good. So good. But in order to call in this siren energy, that sacral needs to be clear. So we need to practice clearing that energy, clearing anything that's left over in the sacral. Okay? Once it's clear, we want to then go back to embodiment. We want to ask ourselves, take some time to meditate on it, journal through it, whatever you feel you need to do, and ask yourself, what does that siren energy in my body feel like, and how do I embody it in the 3D? Because once that sacral chakra is really, really clear, it's going to come through. It's going to hit differently. So everything I talked about earlier, to embody this energy, to use this energy in the world, clear your sacral and then go back and ask yourself, okay, what does this look like for me? Because it can't steer you wrong. Your gut knows. Your intuition knows exactly what you need. The one thing I want to touch on before we wrap it up here is the fact that you don't actually need to make this difficult. I feel like there's a couple concepts that I mentioned today that some of you might be like, what the fuck is that? Or like, how does that work? Calling in the siren energy and then embodying it and then using it doesn't have to be difficult. It's not difficult. The answer lies here. It's a fucking choice. All you need to do is choose to embody this. Declare it out loud if you must. I don't care. Write it on a piece of paper, put it on your fucking ceiling so you wake up first thing in the morning, write I am a siren over and over and over until you're like, oh my God, like I can't get it out of my head. It's a choice. You can quantum leap into a fucking timeline where you chose the siren energy and you're just embodying it. But it's a choice. All you have to do is choose it. So there's a lot more to come with this siren energy. I've been downloading it for a while and I can't wait to share it all with you very, very soon. A lot sooner than I thought I was going to, until Spirit was like, no bitch, you're doing this now. So stay tuned for all of that. There's definitely going to be an offering that's coming with this. But until then, focus on that sacral chakra and call in this motherfucking energy because it is beautiful, it's powerful, and it's sexy as fuck. And who doesn't want to feel that? And you know what else, guys? It's safe. It is safe to feel this energy. It's safe to feel sexy as fuck and in your own zone. It's safe to want to call in the things. You're not hurting anybody else by calling in what is yours. You're not taking something from somebody else. You are literally just gaining what you know you deserve. It's very simple. But I will leave you on that note and I will talk to you guys soon.